Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much. Wow, that's like old school days. Remember those days? And the camera was just like this. We've got your Chevy Silverado tech tip of the week. And the question has come up numerous times for whatever reason here in the last few weeks. And Kyle Dotson from this past weekend kind of put the nail in the coffin on doing this tech tip. He just briefly pointed out one of his baits that he likes to use, and he was talking specifically about spawnies or spawn sacks, whatever you want to call them. And one of the things that you need to remember with this particular setup is that it's exactly like what you would do if you were going to make tuna balls, okay? Now, tuna balls are something that we use a lot for spring Chinook fishing and other fisheries as well, especially for, at least for myself, plunking. So there's a number of reasons why that you're going to want to at least get the pieces of the puzzle that you need here to actually put these together. And again, you can do it for eggs or, of course, tuna, or actually, quite honestly, a combination of the two. It just really kind of depends on what it is that you want to do. You can kind of get nutty with these spawn sacks on how you want to put them together. So all I've got here is just the regular netting material that you can buy over at Fisherman's Marine. And what I've got in this little bag is just the stash that I use for wherever I happen to be. And what this is, this netting, these spawn sacks, this particular one came in a roll, okay? Now that's just a way that you can get a lot more material. And then, of course, I just cut them up into small bits. You can buy them already pre-cut, but if you buy the roll, you'll just end up with more material so that you can make more spawnies if you wish to. I really like red. I love the pink. As you can tell here, I got the pink and red. And sometimes I'll actually mix and match. Like I'll put a pink with the red, which is what this one is here. And then I've got red and red here. That just kind of changes the color up a little bit when the sack is finally done. So, I mean, it all depends on you. It really probably doesn't make a huge difference, but it kind of looks a little cerise when you do that. So again, I mean, there's just a number of things that you can do. One thing I'm going to show you is I actually have a corky here. You can use a corky, but I'm not going to recommend it because they're spendy in comparison to a puffball, okay? Now, I just don't happen to have any puffballs here with me, but if you take and add a puffball to your spawnie, you can add one or two, whatever you want to do. It'll help add a little flotation to that bait. You can certainly do it on all of them. You can do it on half of them. It really just depends on what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be fishing, and how you want to present it. Because if you do put a puffy in there, a puffball, or again, in this case, it's a corky, it will help them float up. So it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so that being said, I am actually going to stuff one in here just because I can. Then, again, you can take all the different flavors, typical steelhead flavors at least, from Procure and add that to anything that you want to do. In this case, I am a huge fan of the the steelhead combo. I use that on, I mean, pretty much everything. It's got everything in it that you can possibly need for steelhead. Another thing that you can do, these eggs were cured up in the Fuse Egg Cure, the steelhead blend. I don't always do this, but if you want to get just a scent bomb, I mean, just get, you know, where this gets in the water and just starts to make a lot of a trail, you can add just a little bit to the spawn sacks. Again, you don't have to go crazy. You can do anything that you want. You can even add, one of my favorite things, is bits of shrimp, right? If you took your coon shrimp and cut up into some chunks, you can throw those in there as well. So, I mean, again, what you have inside of here to make your spawnie, that's completely up to you. You can go straight eggs. You can actually, I would say that with spawn sacks, most commonly in the beginning, they were made with individual eggs, where folks would take their eggs when they get them from whatever species of salmon or even steelhead, and they would spoon out the eggs themselves from the skeins. I don't do that. I actually just cure up all my eggs like I normally would, and then I'll just cut off smaller bits when I'm going to do these spawn sacks like this. So here's what I like to do. I'm going to take and just kind of easily fold this thing. You don't have to be gentle, but I'm just going to fold it over like that. I like putting it in my hand so I can just get it to fold over. And you can see that it's just wrapped up. That's actually 2 pieces of the spawn sack. Okay, it's not just one. I want 2 because it makes it a little bit more durable, and it just gives it a little bit of different look as well. You can use a single if you wish, but doubling it up, that's just what I like to do. Again, everything that I'm showing you here is what I like to do, and that's it. Everybody could have their own take. So now I've just got stretchy string. This happens to be the clear. I'll also use the red old school magic thread as well, just because of the color. But again, with this setup, I just use the clear, just what I happen to have, what works. I like to give it a few good twists, because while you're doing this, you're going to actually be tightening that spawn sack up a little bit. And then once you do that, I know that you can just break it right off if you want to, but I've never had good luck with that. I will give it a few half hitches just to tighten her up. And once I have that set just like that, if I want it tighter in this one, I will make a little tighter. It's not hard to do. Just open it up to the middle and just give it a pull, and that'll squeeze down that stretchy string that you put on there. And that's just going to tighten that sack up super tight. And they're not going to be perfectly round. You can make them perfectly round if you want to. You can make them in all different sizes. It's whatever it is that you want to have. The trick here now is going to be having a good pair of Kershaw scissors and cut them off, cut this excess off right above that stretchy string. So now you've just got, and I always want to make sure I don't have any tag ends. I hate that. It's like a knot with a tag in. Give me a break. So there you go. It's just that simple. You can do any number of things that you want. They have different colors of the net here, netting, spawn sack material, whatever you want to call it. You can do a number of different things, but you can see how that is just squeezing out some great scent, okay? This is just basically a supercharged bead. Okay, if you wanted to look at it in any certain way, again, you can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. Again, just a number of things that you can do with that. Now, the other question was rigging it, right? How do you actually get this on your hook so that it's going to fish the way that you want to? Now, there's going to be a couple of different opinions here, but what I have seen and what I have done is nothing too rocket science, right? It's going to be on a bare hook. This is just a size 1. One of the Brad's hooks, one of their new versions of their Brad's hooks. It's tied on 12-pound. Again, you can do whatever you want. So all I'm going to do here is right where that stretchy string has been put on is you're going to take your hook and go right underneath it, right through the sack itself, and you're going to pop it through, hopefully. Oh, it helps if you don't actually get the stretchy string. And in the end, that's how it's going to fish. Now, if you're going to be dragging this with the bobber dogging setup, if you're going to be chandeliering this, I wouldn't recommend putting a puffball in there. If you're going to do that, that's where the differences between the two might come into play. But there's a number of ways that you can fish that. You can, again, bobber dog it, you can chandelier it, you can drift fish it, free drifting out of the sled, fish it from the bank. Just any number of ways that you're going to want to fish that. And oddly enough, even though that the spawn sack is on the shank of the hook, it's not very grabby. I mean, it's not that snaggy, right? I think the bag just kind of helps protect that tip as it's kind of ticking along the bottom. Again, though, that's where having that puffball in there. Again, in this particular case, it's a little quirky. That's not what I would recommend, again, just because it's spendy, but at least it's accomplishing what I'm trying to get done here. But that's it. Very simple to make. They look fantastic in the water, and the steelhead love them. It's just something different to throw at them that you might not be throwing at them now. And in low, clear water, like it looks like we're going to end up with again here very, very quickly, it's still a very unintrusive bait that the steelhead do like. So it's certainly something that you want to keep in mind. Utilize that. If you don't have the pieces of the puzzle, it's very inexpensive. You can head over to Fisherman's. They have all that stuff in stock at any of those sportsman shows as well. I would assume that they're going to have that stuff available for you. As far as the eggs that you use, again, these are on the skein. They're not individual eggs, which is perfectly fine. Any flavor that you like. If it's a steelhead-based cure, if it's a salmon-based cure, I don't really think it makes a huge difference. It's just going to give you that scent, the eyeball, and hopefully you just present it in a way that the fish are agreeable and that the fish are there. That'll help out. But it's a super simple way to change things up. My recommendation is when you do this, just start laying them out, just like I had laid out here. Today, I'm going to lay out probably, I say a dozen. But just to drive Eva crazy, I might just do a whole bunch, just to stink the house up. Y'all know what I mean. But then once you do that, just have yourself a small container to keep them in. You don't have to take really great care of them. You can scent them after the fact. You know, you can put some Procure oil on once they're done. I like adding in that little bit of egg cure. It does give it quite the poof of scent when it's in the water. So it's certainly a tech tip that you can use and a bait that can help you be more successful when you get out there. All right, hopefully that helps out in some way. That's the Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. When we come back from this break, we're going to have Tony Amato from STS Magazine, that's Salmon, Trout, Steelheader Magazine. He is live down on the Umpqua River chasing steelhead in a derby. Cross your fingers for good video. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.